something sinister was brewing that quiet summer morning. A white sedan, almost invisible against the soft morning light, sat motionless in the parking lot. Whispers of darkness would soon shatter the peaceful tranquility of a small Massachusetts town, forever changing the lives of an unsuspecting family. The sun had barely risen, casting long shadows across the quiet landscape. Little did anyone know that within hours, an innocent life would vanish without a trace, leaving behind a mystery that would haunt an entire community for decades. Our story centers around a young soul, vibrant, full of dreams, and on the cusp of experiencing life's most beautiful adventures. A teenager whose smile could light up the darkest rooms, whose potential seemed limitless. But fate had a different narrative prepared. A narrative that would transform this beautiful summer into a haunting tale of loss, uncertainty, and an unresolved quest for justice.
On that day in June of 2000, when Maggie Bish dropped Molly off at Cummins Pond for her summer lifeguarding job, she says she noticed a white car similar to this one and says the driver gave her a bad feeling.
And I'm thinking, why is he here? What's he doing? You know, he should be at work 10 o'clock in the morning. And this is a children's beach. Swimming lessons are starting. It didn't make sense.
Born on August 2nd, 1983, in the heart of Massachusetts, our main character emerged into a world full of promise and potential. Molly Ann Bish was the middle child of Magi and John Bish, a loving family that epitomized the warmth of small-town living. Growing up in a supportive household, Molly was known for her vibrant personality and infectious enthusiasm. Her parents, Magi and John, had created a nurturing environment that encouraged their children to pursue their passions and dream big. Molly's siblings became her closest allies, sharing moments of laughter, adventure, and teenage camaraderie. From an early age, Molly displayed a remarkable sense of responsibility and compassion. Her summers were not just about teenage fun, but about making a difference. Becoming a lifeguard was more than just a job, it was a calling. She saw it as an opportunity to protect others, to be a guardian of safety for those enjoying the local waters. Those who knew Molly described her as a beacon of positivity. Her academic performance was consistently strong, and she was actively involved in various school activities. She wasn't just another teenager. She was someone with a genuine desire to contribute to her community and make a meaningful impact. The Bish family was well respected in Warren. They were the kind of people who knew the value of hard work, family bonds, and community support. Molly was raised with strong values that emphasized kindness, integrity, and looking out for others, qualities that would become hauntingly significant in the days to come. The morning of June 27, 2000 started like any other summer day in Warren. The sun peeked through soft clouds, casting a warm glow over Cummins Pond. Molly's mother, Magi, prepared to drive her daughter to another day of lifeguard duty, a routine that had become familiar over the past few weeks. As they drove, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Magi remembered something peculiar from the previous day, a white sedan parked suspiciously in the lot. A mustached man had caught her attention, but at the time, she hadn't thought much of it. Little did she know how significant that brief moment would become. Around 9:30 in the morning, Magi dropped Molly off near her lifeguard station. The pond was peaceful, the water calm. Molly, dressed in her lifeguard attire, was ready for another day of watching over swimmers and ensuring their safety. Her mother watched her daughter walk towards her post, a moment that would be forever etched in her memory. But something was different that day. Hours passed, and an unsettling silence began to grow. No one had seen Molly at her lifeguard station. Her personal belongings remained untouched, as if she had simply vanished into thin air. The calm of the morning had been replaced by an increasingly urgent sense of concern. By late afternoon, panic began to set in. Local authorities were contacted, and a search was initiated. The first critical hours of investigation would prove crucial in understanding what had happened to the young lifeguard. Witnesses would later come forward with chilling details. A local worker reported seeing a car similar to the white sedan Magi had noticed the day before. Another witness mentioned seeing a man matching the description of the suspicious individual from the previous day. The community of Warren was about to face its most challenging moment. A beloved daughter, a promising young life, had seemingly disappeared without a trace. Local law enforcement immediately activated their emergency protocols. Every road, every path, every inch of woodland around Commons Pond became a potential crime scene. Hundreds of volunteers joined the search, combing through dense forests, checking abandoned buildings, and covering every possible route Molly might have taken. Magi and John Bish were at the center of this hurricane of emotion. Their daughter's disappearance wasn't just a case, it was a nightmare unfolding in real time. They worked tirelessly, distributing missing person flyers, appearing on television shows, and doing everything humanly possible to keep Molly's story alive. Multiple law enforcement agencies collaborated. The Massachusetts State Police, local county sheriffs, and even federal investigators became involved. This wasn't just another missing person case. Something felt different, more urgent. Television shows like America's Most Wanted and Unsolved Mysteries picked up Molly's story. Her photograph, a beautiful teenager with a bright smile, became etched in the national consciousness. Each broadcast brought new hope, new potential leads, and expanded the search beyond Warren's boundaries. Weeks turned into months. The initial intensity of the search gradually transformed into a persistent, methodical investigation. Every tip was investigated. Every potential lead followed. The Bish family refused to give up, maintaining an incredible level of hope and determination. But as summer faded into fall, and fall gave way to winter, the chances of finding Molly alive began to dim. The community's initial frantic energy started to give way to a somber acceptance that something terrible might have happened. In late fall of 2002, a hunter walking through the dense woods of Whiskey Hill in Palmer made a chilling observation. Something blue caught his eye, a piece of clothing that seemed out of place in the wilderness. At the time, he didn't realize the significance of what he had seen. Months later, in May 2003, the hunter shared his discovery with Tim McGigan. This seemingly small conversation would become a critical turning point in the investigation. Local authorities immediately launched an intensive search of the area. On June 9, 2003, nearly 3 years after Molly's disappearance, the unthinkable was confirmed. Her remains were discovered approximately 5 miles from her family home, a location that would forever be etched in the community's collective memory. The discovery brought a mixture of emotions for the Bish family and the entire community of Warren. While closure was desperately sought, the pain of losing Molly so tragically was overwhelming. The hope that had sustained them for 3 long years was now replaced by a profound sense of grief. Law enforcement faced significant challenges. The cause of Molly's physical harm could not be definitively determined. Her remains told a story of a young life cruelly interrupted, but the full details remained shrouded in mystery. The investigation entered a new phase. What was once a missing person case had now transformed into something far more serious. The focus shifted from search and rescue to a complex investigation aimed at identifying those responsible for this heinous act. Multiple suspects would emerge over the years. Each potential lead brought a renewed sense of hope that justice might finally be served. From a Connecticut man with a troubling history to local individuals with suspicious backgrounds, investigators pursued every possible angle. Names like Rodney Stanger, Gerald Battistoni, and Francis P. Sumner would become part of the investigation's narrative. Each was scrutinized and investigated, but ultimately, no definitive charges were brought forward. The Bish family, however, refused to be silenced. Their pain transformed into a powerful mission of awareness and prevention. In 2004, Magi and John Bish founded the Molly Bish Center and Foundation, ensuring that their daughter's legacy would continue to protect and educate others. In 2005, authorities briefly investigated a Connecticut man charged with attempted kidnapping in New York. While he seemed promising, he ultimately did not provide the breakthrough investigators hoped for. The most compelling suspect emerged in 2009, Rodney Stanger, a Florida resident with a dark past. Stanger had lived in Southbridge, Massachusetts, just miles from Warren, for over 2 decades. His connection to the case was chillingly precise. He owned a white car similar to the one seen near Commons Pond, frequently fished in the pond and hunted in the very woods where Molly's remains were discovered. Stanger's criminal history added weight to the investigation. He had been convicted of physically harming his longtime girlfriend, Crystal Morrison. His proximity to the crime scene and matching description to the suspicious man Molly Bish had seen made him a person of significant interest. Another name that sent shockwaves through the investigation was Gerald Battistoni. A confidential informant with a troubling criminal record, Battistoni had a history of serious offenses against young individuals. Private Detective Dan Malley identified him as a potential suspect, noting his resemblance to the composite sketch of the man seen in the parking lot. The investigation took another turn in 2021 when Worcester County District Attorney Joseph Early highlighted Francis P. Sumner Sr., a registered individual with an extensive criminal record. Sumner had previous convictions for serious offenses and had been incarcerated multiple times. What made these suspects particularly intriguing was their connection to another mysterious case, the disappearance of Holly Piirainen, another young Massachusetts resident who had been physically harmed years earlier. The similarities were too significant to ignore. An emotional twist emerged from the investigation's early days, a poignant connection between Molly and Holly. Years before her own disappearance, Molly had written a heartfelt letter to Holly Piirainen's family, expressing hope and sympathy. Despite multiple suspects and extensive investigations, a critical fact remained: no arrests had been made. The case continued to haunt law enforcement and the Bish family. As years turned into decades, the Bish family's determination never wavered. What could have broken lesser families became a source of incredible strength and purpose. Molly and John Bish transformed their personal tragedy into a powerful mission of awareness and protection. In 2004, they established the Molly Bish Center and Foundation, partnering with Anna Maria College. This wasn't just a memorial. It was a living, breathing commitment to preventing similar tragedies from happening to other families. The foundation became a beacon of hope, focusing on child safety, abduction awareness, and supporting families facing similar challenges. Molly's story was no longer just about her loss, but about protecting and empowering future generations. By 2023, as the 23rd anniversary of Molly's disappearance approached, District Attorney Joseph Early provided a crucial update. Despite the passage of time, the investigation remained active. Forensic science continued to advance, offering new possibilities for solving the case. The anonymous tip line remained open, a testament to the community's continued commitment to finding the truth. Familial DNA techniques emerged as a promising avenue, with Early expressing confidence in their potential to break the case wide open. Several key suspects had passed away over the years, including Francis Sumner in 2016 and Gerald Battistoni in 2014. While their deaths complicated the investigation, they didn't extinguish the hope of solving the mystery. The Bish family's approach was remarkable. Instead of being consumed by grief, they channeled their pain into positive action. They became advocates, speakers, and champions for child safety. Molly's memory became a powerful force for change, inspiring communities across Massachusetts and beyond. Local law enforcement remained committed. Each new technological advancement, each forensic breakthrough brought renewed hope. The case of Molly Ann Bish was far from a cold case. It was an ongoing mission of justice. For the Bish family, this wasn't just about solving a mystery. It was about honoring Molly's memory, protecting other young lives, and ensuring that no family would have to endure the same pain they had experienced. As the years passed, Molly's story continued to resonate. She was more than a victim. She was a symbol of resilience, hope, and the unbreakable bond between a family determined to seek truth and justice. The story of Molly Ann Bish was far from over. All right, folks, if this tragic tale has gripped your heart like it has ours, be sure to hit that like button. It's how we know you want more in-depth coverage of these haunting mysteries. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll be the first to dive into our next case. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.